Well, guys, I wanted to say something tonight. I'm not sure who saw the post I made a few weeks ago about, the allegations that, my stepchildren's biological father is making against me. But our oldest daughter, Scarlett, she's 5. She went to school and had a little bruise on her face, and the school called DCS, which they should. You know what I'm saying? That's responsible. That's what they should do to protect children. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in no way, shape, or form do I hold any fault with the school whatsoever. Right? They were doing what they're required to do, and what's in the best interest of my daughter, and I respect that. But that day, I believe, or maybe it was the next day, April 9th or April 10th is when that happened. I believe it was the next day was Scarlett's birthday. And so as soon as she got out of school, she was picked up by her dad for her birthday, because it was his day to have her. And, he was aware. My wife, Catherine, Kat, as we all know her, she made him aware of the contact with DCS. And that day, she went with him, and he refused to bring her home. And I think pretty much everyone was aware of that from the post I made back then. Sorry, I'm frustrated here, and I don't know what else to do. But, so, he refused to bring her back, and then a few days later, I think it was 12 days went by, and then it was his weekend to have our other 2 girls. And, he still hadn't brought Scarlett back at that point, but, he demanded that we still let the other 2 girls see him. My wife was like, hey, I need you to tell me that you're going to bring them home, and he wouldn't answer, and said, you're required to, I'll file contempt if you don't, under the parenting guidelines. And so, my wife, not wanting to get into any trouble with the court, she went ahead and let him have them, and of course he didn't bring them back either. And so we're talking with DCS, dealing with them. DCS comes by, they investigate everything. Before he took them, they talked to the girls. And the DCS caseworker told me, she was like, I don't see anything wrong here. I don't know, I don't know why she said that, but why she said that you hit her, but it doesn't feel to me that you hit her, right? And she was like, I have to go talk to the father, and, then I'll finish my review and I'll close the case up. No big deal, right? Well, while he has the girls, he goes, and it's not until a couple of weeks later that when he gets the other 2 girls, or actually the day before he gets the other 2 girls, he goes and files a police report, right? And this whole time he's telling my wife, it's a safety issue. They can't be there if Chris is there. And, it's not... He doesn't file the police report until 12 days later, when he gets the other 2 girls. And actually, I think it was the day before he got the other 2 girls. So, we go to court, because he files for emergency custody. We go to court, and, he presents pictures of Scarlett that day that he got her, where she has a little bruise on her right cheek, a little bitty fingerprint-sized bruise, right? And, but smaller than mine. They're small fingers. But she also has some scratching on her face. And so, he tells the judge that I caused the scratching, that Scarlett told him that I slapped her in the face. And had hit her other times before too, right? And the Scarlett's teacher testifies that yes, she came to school with the bruise, but even though Scarlett says that I grabbed her by the face and then slapped her, and that's where the scratches and bruise came from, that she saw Scarlett scratching her face throughout the day, that she did not have the scratches when she got to school, and that she had been scratching her face throughout the day, and that's where the scratches came from, right? Mind you, as I said in my original post, I am not a violent person. I've never been arrested. Have I been in fights? Absolutely. You know, what grown man hasn't been in a fist fight at one point in their life, right? But I'm not a violent person. I don't go seeking out fights. I don't instigate fights. And I actually have one rule for myself, is that I don't hit anyone first, ever. In order for me to get into a physical altercation, it has always been because somebody else hit me first. I am not the kind of person to be violent. But, you know, throughout this case, the judge listens, and the judge says, you know what, it doesn't, you know, I think there's just some misunderstanding going on here. And he even says that he doesn't understand why Scarlett would have said that, and that it is not apparent that I am the one that caused those bruises, and that there's no real safety concern. And so he dismisses the case and says no big deal, right? So fast forward, a couple weeks go by. DCS comes by and says, hey, I really want to close this case, but I have to wait until, you know, the police talk to you, and the police haven't talked to you yet, so as soon as they talk to you, then I'll close out the case. Great. So fast forward to this past Thursday, Wednesday. My wife is at home, and detectives show up at her house, tell them they need to speak with me, so she calls me because I'm in Anderson working, right? And mind you, I have been working 14 to 16 hour days since March 18th, right? Which is when mowing season started. Why? Because what do? I'm a landscaper, I'm a mower, right? So my busy time is from sunup to way past sundown sometimes. We didn't even get home from work last night until 10 o'clock at night. And that's normal, right? That's a regular thing. And I have tons of witnesses that can vouch for that. I have family members that lived in the home. I have, family members that were working with me. I have my best friend who works with me. We have had other workers with us, right? So this is a regular thing. We also have tons of clients that can vouch for all of this, right? I'm almost never home, right? But the detective comes, says he needs to talk to me. She goes ahead and calls me, tells me, I talked to the detective on the phone with her. He tells me he needs to come in and talk to him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he probably just wants to hear my side of things or whatever. And so I tell him, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and come in. Because I'm not worried about it. What do I have to be worried about? I haven't done anything, right? So no problem. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to talk to him, clear stuff up. And, it'll finally be over with. DCS can close their case, right? But I get to the police station, and I go in. I ask to let them know that I'm there to talk with Detective Stiers or Spires. I think it's Stiers. And so they take me up there. The detective comes out, stands in the waiting area, and kind of acts like he doesn't see me or whatever, even though I'm the only person in there. And then he finally comes over and says, are you waiting to see me? And I'm like, I don't know, who are you? And he says, I'm Detective Stiers. I'm like, oh yeah, you're the guy I'm here to see. And, keep in mind, I'm joking with these guys. The guy asked me, he's like, how are you today? And I'm like, well, it's kind of awkward when a detective calls and says, I need to talk with you. I chuckle a little bit. And he goes, oh yeah, I understand, no big deal. And he takes me into the room and goes and gets me some water. And then he comes back in and he starts reading my Miranda rights. And then he, he asked me to sign a waiver of rights. And I'm like, well, hold on. why am I signing that? I said, am I under arrest? And he said, not yet. And I said, not yet? Okay, well then I'm not talking to you without a lawyer, and I'm certainly not signing that, right? And he's like, oh, okay, well, give me a few minutes, I'll be back. And so he leaves for about 20 minutes. I'm sitting there just waiting, ready to get out of there, thinking he's gonna come back and be like, okay, call a lawyer, whatever. No. Sorry, I'm very anxious over this whole thing. I don't know if you guys can tell, because I'm kind of starting to shake a little bit. But he comes back about 15-20 minutes later with 2 uniformed officers, and they tell me I'm under arrest. And I ask them what for, and they say battery to a minor. Really? Okay. And so, I turn around and I tell the guy, I'm like, I really think you're looking the wrong way here. I said, I'm going to fight it in court. I said, I understand you're doing your job, but I really think you guys got this wrong. And he's like, okay, well, we have probable cause to arrest you. And I'm like, okay. And so I let him take me to jail. Did not resist whatsoever. I was calm. I was friendly, polite, respectful. And I let him take me to jail. They booked me in. They put me into the drunk tank for holding until there's a cot available, a bed available. And I'm stuck in the drunk tank overnight. I get there at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think it was, when I was brought in. And from that point, I did not get a mat. I had to either sit on the bench, or if I wanted to sleep, I had to lay on the cold concrete in the drunk tank with just a wool blanket. No pillow, nothing like that, right? Because it's jail, and, this sucks. And they leave me in there from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until I have my pre-trial conference at 8 a.m., but I just go out, I get on the phone for a few minutes, talk to them, answer their questions, get back in the drunk tank, and I'm there until 11 o'clock. My court hearing's at 1 o'clock for my bail hearing, and I finally get assigned to a pod at 11 o'clock, finally get my mat and everything else, and then at 1 o'clock I go to my court hearing, plead not guilty, I get OR'd, right, and then I have to sit in the pod for another 4 hours, I think, 3 or 4 hours. I feel like it was forever, just waiting for them to let me out so I could go home. And they finally let me out. And I can't go home. The judge issued a protective order against Scarlett, so I cannot be anywhere where Scarlett is. Scarlett 12 days out of every 2 weeks is at home. And then 2 weeks on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, her and her sisters all go to their biological fathers. Those days I can go home. But I cannot be home while Scarlett is home. I can't see my babies. My wife is 3.5 weeks away from giving birth to my son, my first blood child, and I can't be home. I can't help her with anything. I can't help her with the kids. I can't help her clean the house. I can't help her with groceries. I can't do anything. So I'm stuck in Anderson at my best friend's house ever since I got out of jail. I can't see my family. I can't see my wife. I can't see anybody. And all I can do is work. Day in, day out, work. Which is what I was doing before, but at least I got to go home to my family. And the thing is this guy has been trying to get me out of the picture since the beginning. A few months ago, he falsified. We got into a verbal altercation during a child exchange, and he lied to the police, him and his girlfriend, and told them that I pushed her. I didn't touch him, but I pushed her. It never happened. I never put my hands on anybody that day because, again, my one rule, I don't touch anybody first, ever. I've had that principle my entire life. There's a reason I don't have a criminal record, and it's because I don't do things just out of anger or just because I can. So now I have 2 felonies, which they're, for some reason, even though I've never been arrested, except for a criminal conversion charge 14 years ago, that was dismissed. I was a young, dumb kid. I did something stupid. I did what I was supposed to and got it dismissed. That's the only thing. And that wasn't even an arrest. That was a ticket. I never got arrested for that. And I've never been arrested. And yet, for some reason, they've increased. When I was first booked, I was booked in as a level 6 felony. By the time I got to court the next day for my arraignment, it was increased to 2 level 5 felonies. Not 1 level 6, 2 level 5 felonies. And they requested that I be tried as a habitual offender, even though I've never been arrested. The police have my wife listed as a witness, have never interviewed her. They haven't given me a chance to talk to them with or without a lawyer. I haven't met my public defender, who, by the way, was actually admonished by the Supreme Court in 2020, I think it was, for neglecting his clients, for failing to do paperwork in a timely manner, to file motions in a timely manner. He was penalized for all that. He was suspended for 30 days. And yet that's my public defender. I mean, am I just being railroaded here? Like, what did I do that I'm just being thrown into the friggin' chopping block while this guy, my wife's ex, is just trying to push me out of the friggin' picture? I have done nothing but love these girls since the day that I met them. I've been kind, I've been nurturing. Have I been strict when I needed to be? Yes, but I don't need to lay hands on them to do that. They respect me. When they have to go to his house, they scream. My oldest screams and throws a fit. She does not want to go, but she begs. My wife tells me every day she begs to see me. She begs for me. She asks about me constantly. When is Daddy coming home? Can I go see Daddy? Can Daddy take me to go get suckers? You know, she comes from their house with bruises, all of them. They come from their house with bruises all the time. We've even reported it to CPS. They have fingerprint, like handprint bruises on them. Winter had handprint bruises on her leg where somebody had spanked her so hard they left fingerprint bruises. And yet, they didn't do anything about that. They didn't arrest him or his girlfriend. They didn't press charges of any kind. DCS closed the investigation without even telling us. But yet he says that my daughter said that I hit her. And she has even admitted to my wife that she did not say that. That they told her to say that. And that it wasn't true. I'm going to post another video after this of another incident that has happened since I was released from jail last week, where he has tried to say that I violated the protective order already. But I have proof that I didn't. He's saying that my 5-year-old daughter told him that she was with me the day I got out of jail and all day the day after. Except I did not go home. I've been in Anderson since. I came to my best friend Gavin's house as soon as I got out of jail, and I've been here ever since. Friday, I was working all day long from 9 a.m. So watch that video. Gives you all the details there. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts. I need help here, and I don't know what to do. I can't afford a lawyer for this. I can't. The public defender isn't going to defend me. He's going to try to get me to take a plea deal, and I'm not taking a plea deal because I didn't do it. Why would I plead guilty to something I didn't do? I'd rather go to trial, because I know I'm going to win at trial. And if I do lose at trial, by some miracle, they get me at trial, I'd rather take the jail time than to ever say I was guilty to something I didn't do. I am beyond upset with the Anderson Police Department, with the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, with the Madison County Jail, because of their terrible freaking conditions. and I need help. I want this case gone, and I want to sue Anderson Police Department for a wrongful arrest. And honestly, I'd really like an apology, because I'm a small business owner. I'm fairly well known in the community. I have a lot of friends here. I have a lot of clients here that love me. And I feel like this has tarnished my reputation. I feel like this has lost me money. I'm fairly certain I just lost a client because of this arrest. Because all of a sudden, they weren't comfortable with being home while we were there if her husband wasn't home, which I get. You know, weird guys outside your house, absolutely. You should have someone home if you don't feel safe. Totally understand that, but I feel like it's because of this. I feel like this had something to do with it. And maybe I'm wrong, but it is interesting timing, because no customer has ever done that to us before, right? And everybody's different, I understand that. But just out of the blue, after I get this arrest, that almost immediately happens. That makes me, you know, I feel like it's really damaged my reputation, and it's kept me away from my home. It's kept me away from my family. My son's going to be here in 3.5 weeks. My girls are begging to see me. I don't get to sleep in my own bed. I don't get to tell my wife goodnight and give her a kiss. I don't get to tuck my girls in and read them a story. I'm stuck, and I need help. I need an attorney, and I can't afford one. So if you guys have any suggestions whatsoever, or if you would like to help, please let me know. Thank you.